What's good, everybody? It's Andrew coming back at you with another episode, and it's mock draft time. Jags 2025 NFL draft. So let's get into it. This episode we'd be dropping a little late, probably tomorrow, Thursday on draft day, but hey, better late than never. So I got my draft hat on here, GM hat on, and let's get into it. The Jags start here in round one, pick number 5. I'm going to try to pronounce this. It's Teteroa McMillan, or T-Mac, that's his nickname. Wide receiver out of Arizona. He's 6'4", huge wide receiver, nice size there, 4'5", 40. A little bit of an unusual pick for me. I was thinking I was going to go corner, but I actually like this pick because I think the Jags need some help in the wide receiving core, especially since they lost Christian Kirk there in the offseason. So this guy, he's kind of giving me Jimmy Smith vibes. He's got great hands. He runs excellent routes, gets great separation there, and is just always seems to be open. And I think he's a great complement there with Brian Thomas Jr., a nice 1-2 punch there. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars need it. They need help in the wide receiving core and essentially need, tons of weapons there for Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going wide receiver for pick number 5 in the first round. So our next pick here in round number 1 is it's a trade. Jaguars will initiate a trade with the Chicago Bears. They're going to send Travis Etienne with wide receiver G.Davis to Chicago, along with a 2026 second-round pick in exchange for Chicago's number 10 pick in the first round. And the Jags will select Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan. And I think this is would be a great pick, honestly, because the Jags need a ton of help in the secondary. Will Johnson is a great outside press corner, and we need all the help we can get in the secondary because we got torched. Ronald Darby was just not very good for us as a free agent pickup from the Ravens last year, and obviously was released by the Jaguars. So we need to have that nice complement there with Tyson Campbell, Jerry and Jones, Buster Brown, and then Will Johnson. I think this could be an elite defense. Will Johnson is a ball hawk, man. He can jump routes. He's great in press coverage, and he just generates a ton of turnovers. I know there was some concerns about him and injuries, and I don't know how much I can trust some of these stories coming out on Twitter guys, or X, whatever they're calling it now. I don't know. There's a lot of betting, and you wonder if some of this stuff is true or not, and whether they're just putting it out there to lower him in the first round, or manipulate the draft order. So, but I think the Jags, have to do something in the secondary. They got to make a splash here in the first round. They need top tier secondary help, and I'm willing to send ETN. I know he was 1,000-yard rusher a couple seasons, but I think we can afford to move on without him. Of course, with G.Davis too, and I think a second rounder in 2026 is something that we can afford. So yeah, we get Will Johnson there at pick number 10 in the first round from Chicago from a trade. All right, we jump into round 2 here. I'm going tight end, and I'm going Mason Taylor out of LSU. 6'5", 255. He runs a 4.65. This guy is an amazing talent. I think he's a sleeper tight end in the second round. I didn't know this, but he's actually related to Jason Taylor. He's Jason Taylor's son. Jason Taylor, Hall of Famer, defensive lineman, played for Miami. And obviously, I don't know if you guys have known this, but there's the infamous feud there between Baselli and him in that game. I think it was like 1998 where they were playing, and they kind of had some words. But all of that aside, man, Mason Taylor, great tight end. Um, he is a big target and being 6'5", he's fast, he's consistent, and he catches everything, man. Great hands, he runs excellent routes. He could do a lot of different things, and I think he would be a great complement there with Brenton Strange, especially since Evan Ingram was released, which I'm still kind of scratching my head on that one. But him and Brenton Strange, I honestly think Mason Taylor could be a number one tight end and Strange being more of the number two. And I say that, and I'm not dogging Brenton Strange, but I think Strange is a better blocker probably than Mason Taylor. But Mason Taylor is going to be, I think, falling more into that role of Evan Ingram. So we go to round number 3 here. We're going to be drafting there at safety, which is another position we need help at. And I am selecting Andrew Mukuba, safety out of Texas. He's 6 feet tall, runs a 4.45, and this guy is an amazing defensive back. He's a ball hawk. He's aggressive as hell. He's violent in the secondary. Physical. He's going to bring a lot of violence to this Jaguars defense, which I feel like we need to go back to the mid '90s with Donovan Darius and Aaron Beasley, and just go back to that defense where we're feared, man. Like we're one of those defenses like Saxonville, and honestly going back to like 2017, right? He's a turnover generator. He can jump routes. He's not afraid to get in there and make hits, and I think could be a great pickup for the Jaguars there in the 3rd round. So I have the Jaguars picking Andrew Mukuba out of Texas. Then we go to 3rd round. We have Tate Ratledge, offensive guard out of Georgia. He's 6'5", 320, runs a 4.97. So I believe he did track and field. He's a 4.97 is pretty good for an offensive lineman, especially a guard. Those guys are pretty big in the interior, but the Jags need a lot of help there, obviously, with Brandon Sheriff leaving, and then us kind of getting some, I would say temporary, plugs there on the offensive line there with Makari out of Baltimore, picking him up in free agency. But we need to draft some young talent, man. We need to build this offensive line from the draft. So I think, getting Tate Ratledge out of Georgia, he is a great pass blocker and run blocker. He has a real strong anchor, and he can get to the second level and block downfield and get on the linebackers, which is important for, interior O-line, offensive guards. So I have the Jags going, or if I was the GM, I'd be picking Tate Ratledge out of Georgia. We go to the 4th round here. I have the Jaguars picking at defensive line Jordan Phillips, nose tackle out of Maryland. He's 6'3", 320. He runs a 5'1", 40. Has a lot of raw talent, man. We need help at nose tackle and the defensive line. I think Devon Hamilton has left a lot to be desired there at that position. I think he's kind of unfortunately underperformed. I thought he would kind of make a comeback there this season, but haven't seen a lot from him, and I think we need to have a little bit of competition at that position. So this guy is a wrecking ball. I mean, he's got a ton of power and strength there, and a lot of raw talent. I believe he was a wrestler too before he went to Maryland and played football there. But he's got some decent pass rushing moves, a nice spin move, and really, really good upper body strength. So I think with some coaching, he could be a starter in a couple of years and be a nice rotational player for this defensive line. I'm picking at center Seth McLaughlin out of Ohio State. I think we need help at the center position. Obviously, I know we picked up, I'm blanking on his name, a center out of Tampa Bay in free agency, but yeah, we need help there. Build the O line through the draft. So I think McLaughlin will be a nice depth piece there. Really good football IQ. He's a leader on the offensive line and was really good. I was watching some of his film and calling the pass protections and reading some of the blitzes, and I think this will be really important for the Jaguars. Definitely a position that we've struggled at on the offensive line. So, yeah. So we'll go to the fifth round. Going to draft at edge. I'm going Jalen McLeod out of Auburn. I think he's a sleeper fifth round pick. He's 6'1", 236 pounds, and he is just a turnover machine, man. He generates a lot of turnovers and sacks. The Jags pass rush needs a lot of help. We still have Yasir Abdullah, I think, and that'll be interesting to see what he does. Um, but I think, we need some more competition at this spot. I think Jalen McLeod is a good addition there. So, all right, I'm gonna kind of speed through the sixth and seventh rounds because just for the sake of time. In the sixth round, we'll draft running back Raheem Sanders out of USC, and then Jack Kiser, a linebacker out of Notre Dame, and then I think in the seventh round here, finally, we close out with Elijah Badger, wide receiver out of Florida. So those are my picks for the mock draft. A little bit different. I thought I would go corner for number 5, but I think the Jags need some help there at wide receiver. And I'm really kind of looking, guys, maybe not just for this season, but, for next season. Get the players in place for, 2025 season, get them ready, get some experience, and then get them ready to make that jump in 2026 where maybe we make that playoff run. So you guys let me know what you think. Leave a comment on the YouTube video or podcast episode. And hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you next time.